Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Thank you very much for coming out this morning. First on the agenda this morning, we have community service report, the deputations, petitions, presentations, and public meetings. We don't have any. Unfinished business, we don't have any. Other agency reports. It's my pleasure this morning to welcome Inspector Commander Philip Baum. Welcome, Commander. Thank you. Would you like to come forward?
And
Yes.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much. It's an honor to be here, and since this is my first time, I'm trying to get familiar with your processes. Do you just want me to start with the statistics from the report, or are there any items you want covered before I report on the statistics?
No, that would be fine if you would.
Okay.
Statistics, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so what I will do is just review the Police Service Board report and the statistics for this recent quarter. Essentially, as you can see, in regards to the Criminal Code of Provincial Statutes, Charges Laid, Highway Traffic Act, if we compare to 2015 to 16, we are down. Sometimes when you look at these, it can be deceiving because although the numbers are down, it may not be because there aren't offenses being committed. It just means we just didn't get it. Or because of there are other reasons why our compliments may be down at the time, so it will be reflective of the percentage. But at least it's still a good indicator. If it was significantly up, I would be more concerned. But it still tells me that we have work to do and make sure that in fact this is truly reflective of the environment we are operating in. Also, criminal code in regards to traffic is up, and again, I think that's more of a symptom of officers being more thorough when they stop vehicles, because then the reason for stopping a vehicle may be a Highway Traffic Act infraction. However, in conversations with the occupants, there are other offenses which can then transcend into criminal code offenses. So I think that's a good thing because it shows the officers are being thorough in their interaction on the road. Liquor License Act, it's down this year for this quarter, as well as other violations is down. Traffic-related charges, speeding, as you can see, although it's low, it's really still around the average, right? It's within the average. In regards to seatbelt, we are down 9% from 199 in 2015 to 181. Impaired driving is up. From this time last year was 119. This year we are at 153. And again, I think that's quite frankly, we have to keep educating the public, but it's also good to see the officers are there and they're in fact taking action to make sure we can exhibit more deterrence and more influencing the public general behavior. Distracted driving is down. However, we do have, just so you're aware, we have 2 members recently who was appointed to the what we call traffic management officers, and they are distributed throughout. They work in all 3 zones. So you will see an increase eventually because we are using some proactive initiatives such as unmarked sprinter van and so forth, right? Because the rules of evidence is quite stringent to pursue prosecution. So as a result, we need a cruiser where someone can essentially use a phone and put it on the seat beside you, right? There's not enough evidence because it's, we don't have the instant recollection to that level of detail. So we are looking at different initiatives to basically look at the distracted driving, because one of the things that's been learned in the province is distracted driving is one of the primary causes of accidents, and actually severe accidents now. So there are initiatives that's being put in place, and again we have limited resource of these types, so it will be distributed throughout the region. But I think you will see most likely an increase in the distracted driving numbers which will be reflective of that. So it's not that there's a lot increase in distracted driving, it's just we have the means to capture and actually prosecute that. For violent crimes, murder, obviously you're aware of the 3 homicides over the summer. One is primarily a dated, which was a found remains. The other 2 was in regards to the 2 assaults within the town. As a new member to the detachment, one of the things which actually affords me some time, because I'm here in December, is a review of how we did what we did last year, how can we do it better, and what level of partnerships we can garner from the town as well as policing, because we can't do it alone, and see what lessons learned and how we can do it better. Right, so it's great I have the time now to basically take that on and be more efficient next summer. In regards to the sexual assault, is down from 12 in 2015 to 6. Assaults down by 1, so we're still around the average. And as you can imagine, in the summer, it's seasonal, because you will have an increase because of the influx in business within the local community in the summer. But we're still also in the off season. We still have to be cognizant, and we still enforce it. Abduction 3, and I actually did some research on the abduction. No, there wasn't an abduction. It's primarily in regards to custody battles in relationships, and spouse did not return the son or daughter within the allotted time. Is called in as an abduction, and then it's a family dispute in which it's been resolved. So again, wanted to ensure you're aware of that. Robbery, 0 this year, as opposed to last year was 3. And crime against persons, significant lower, 34 from 37. So the other areas of interest which I can go over here is theft under is down, and I think that's good, but our property crime unit is continuously working. And one of the things I find is you may find the numbers may go up, but then all it is may be a small group of perpetrators, and once a warrant is executed, it goes quiet for a while until they get released. So you will see this cyclical up and down within the system. Mischief, again, is down. Fraud, and actually this is one area I think fraud is 43, although it's lower. There's a trend now in frauds, and what it is primarily online. Internet frauds are getting, there's a significant increase, and usually the people who are more vulnerable are the people who are not really connected to the community. They rely on the internet and social media, right? That's where you get the spam. My previous detachment, one person was defrauded over $173,000, right? And you know, something as simple as the Wells Fargo, we have a check for you for $25,000, send us $10,000, you keep the 15. We've had people who have been actually, vulnerable to these types of scams, and been taken sometimes almost their life savings, because I think they're making a great, significant gains. One of these secondary trend to that is the follow-up. If you recall the old days, B&E, someone stole from the house, they return about a month later because they're a new television, right? Well, there's something similar to that's going on now within the internet crimes. And what happened is, if they know you were a victim and essentially you stop this, then they will reach out to you as a law firm, and if you pay a certain percent, they will recover the rest for you. Right? So that's the new trend now, which is something and really the only way we can work on this, because it's international, is through education. Right? And so we will continue to explore methods by which we can educate the public, especially seniors. I find sometimes they're isolated, they rely on the internet, and there's a certain level of naivety, and we want to make sure we can basically penetrate that level of knowledge. lack of knowledge. Okay. Drug crimes. We continue to do good in the drug crime area, and quite frankly, it's doing well. What's happened is we used to have a drug officer who worked in the detachment area, and he was associated to what we call our Organized Crime Enforcement Bureau. And then we had two street crime members in the detachment. Now what we've done is all three will work under the same direction, and we are pooling our resources, so we'll have one sergeant in charge of those three, but also there will be 3 or 4 from another detachment, so pool the 2 detachments. So for example, if you have a situation where there's an increase drug-related occurrence, we can actually pull that resource into the area and augment what we have on ground. Just recently, there was a very successful warrant executed by OSEB just 2 nights ago, in which they did a significant, well-invested time. And we continue to move in that direction, and I see this, it can only get better. The way we can get even better is, the reality is we need to get the public involved, and that's always still something we're trying to pierce, that aura of silence in certain community identified groups. And in regards to the motor vehicle collision types, one of the areas the fatality is down by 2, and as you can imagine, that's seasonal based on the weather conditions. We will work to, we'll continue to work to bring this down, but we also can't take credit sometimes when it's low, because it may just be the weather of the time, right? Personal injuries. So because of the seasonal, I will say we will continue to maintain the initiative. We will continue to be proactive, but there's certain part within the Mother Nature piece that we have to be cognizant, be prepared for the worst, but plan for the worst, but really appreciate when the best happens, right? Although also in regards to motor vehicle fatalities in the detachment area, in 2016, as I mentioned, we were 50% of what we were last year. And unless there's any other questions, that's the end of my report.
Thank you. Is there any questions from the council? Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, through you to the detachment commander. The frauds that are taking place, what age demographic is it affecting the most? Is it mostly seniors, or is it across the board?
It's mostly seniors, and I will use one example, and because as you're aware, I was the operations manager in the Collinwood area, and I basically moved to this with the subsequent promotion. And one of the lessons, they are actually hit a lot harder than this location. And the reason primarily is because a lot of people retired from south into the area. It's time to retire, they move into the area. They're relatively isolated because they're not acclimated to the social fabric of the community. Many different variety of interests, again, trying to transplant into it. So, and also most of these individuals are higher income, has access to the technology, well versed in the use of it. So when they get isolated, what they do is they access the communities online, which makes them more vulnerable, and they have the financial means to essentially follow through on some of these targeted vulnerabilities, right? So that's one of the issues. It doesn't mean that this community is not affected either, because we have seniors, we have people who are also affluent, we have people who have the means to get access to the technologies, but that's what we notice across the province, right?
Any other questions? I'll read the motion. Moved by Deputy Mayor Biafochi, seconded by Councillor Belanger, that the Commendee Service Section of Coordinated Committee does hereby receive the October 2016 Huronia West Police Services Board Report for information. Madam Clerk? Oh, Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're looking good this morning, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members of the committee, having heard the question, I'll call for the vote. Councillor Belanger,
In favor?
Deputy Mayor Byfolchi,
In favor?
Councillor Bray,
In favor?
Councillor Smith,
In favor.
Mayor Smith,
In favor?
Councillor Ego.
In favor.
Thank you, members of the committee. The vote carries on a vote of 6. Thank you.
I'd like to thank you very much for coming, and the council looks forward to working with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
And good luck. Good morning, Chief.
Good morning, Mr. Chair.
How are you today?
Please excuse the cold. I've been fighting this one for about 3 weeks now. Fire department has had attended 110 calls for service in November. Pretty standard for our call volume. There were a couple of notable occurrences. We did have another stovetop fire in the Wasaga Sands area. Another case of somebody cooking with with oil in an open pot on a stove, and then going outside and doing something in the backyard and forgetting that it was on. So there was some damage to the kitchen, but it was knocked down quickly. But that was the one noted structure fire in the spreadsheet. And then, of course, we tried to keep it quiet, but there was a baby delivered at Station 2. So that was a good news story. It is very rare. In my 28 years with the department, we've never assisted with a delivery. We've been to medicals where there's been complications with the pregnancy, but actually no delivery has taken place in those years. So it was pretty exciting. Everything went well. Everything's still good from what I understand from the family. So, and I guess later on at the council meeting, I think the mayor is going to do a presentation. So, our food and toy drive, we've been out doing that as we normally do this time of year. We had a very successful drive. 340 toys, approximately 340 toys were collected. $1,500 worth of food, $2,500 in cash donations, and then numerous gift cards as well. So another very successful drive. Community seems to be just as generous as always. So we collect at Walmart and the Superstore, and then the gift. What we do with the cash is we actually buy gift cards from those two stores and give them to the food bank, so they purchase the food from the two stores that allow us to collect in front. So, and it always works very well for us. So, other than that, just to mention, I guess tomorrow we're gonna have the change of command ceremony at the detachment, and then there's a reception at the fire hall. So I'll be in attendance to that. I don't know whether that was something that went out for council. I know it's a fairly small ceremony, but I'll be attending that. I'm excited to start working with our new inspector. We've always had a really, really good working relationship in this community with police and paramedics, and I'm sure we'll be able to continue that with the new inspector. Community control group, our emergency management group, will be meeting on the 19th of this month to go through our plan, go over some training, and do a tabletop exercise. So that's been sent out to the group, and I look forward to seeing everybody at that. That's my report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments for the chief? Thank you. Seeing none, I'll read the motion. Moved by Councillor Belanger, seconded by Deputy Mayor Byfolchi. Resolved that the Community Service Section of the Coordinating Committee does hereby receive the December 2016 Fire Department report for information. Madam Clerk.
Chair. Members of the committee, having heard the question, I'll call for the vote. Councillor Belanger.
In favor?
Deputy Mayor Byfolchi.
In favor?
Councillor Bray.
In favor?
Councillor Smith.
In favor.
Mayor Smith.
In favor?
Councillor Ego.
In favor.
Thank you. The motion carries 6-0.
Moving on to the consent agenda, all items listed below will be approved by one resolution. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member requests it, in which case the item will be removed from the consent resolution and considered immediately following adoption of the remaining consent agenda items. And I do believe we have one pulled. Yes, Councilor?
Yeah, item 3F. please.
Okay, 3F. Can we vote on this first?
Yes, sir.
Anything? Yes?
Yeah, I'd like to pull one other, the Age-Friendly Community Advisory Report, please. I just pulled it based on his report. Sorry. I should have had more copies then, but age-friendly. Age-friendly. Grants.
Is there anybody else? I'll read the motion. Moved by Deputy Mayor Byafocci, seconded by Councillor Belanger. Resolved that the Community Service Section of the Coordinated Committee does hereby receive the December 8th, 2016 consent agenda items 3D through 3F, and that the recommendations contained therein be adopted. I'll be the Madam Clerk.
Sorry.
It's okay now.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members of the committee, having heard the question, I'll call for the vote. Councilor Belanger?
In favor?
Deputy Mayor Byfolchi?
In favor?
Councilor Gray?
In favor?
Councilor Smith?
In favor.
Mayor Smith?
In favor?
Councilor Ego?
In favor.
Motion carries.
Moving on here, then we have pulled the funding application. I think, yes, would you like to talk to it?
Yes, please. I actually just wanted to pull it to say kudos to Mr. Peter. I think there's a lot of competition out there for these grants, and he's doing a fantastic job, and I didn't want to see it just kind of skipped over in this report. So thank you for all the work that you've been doing. I know we kind of shove you in the back room there, but I know you're doing a lot of good work, so thank you.
Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure, and it indicated in my report. I thoroughly enjoyed working for the town of Wasaga Beach, and particularly the staff that I've noted. They've been very, very helpful, very open, very cooperative, and we keep researching grants and going forward and trying to get more money.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Speakers.
Excuse me, Ryan.
Before you go.
Sorry, go ahead.
Thank you, through you to Mr. Peters. Under the grant application submitted but waiting for approval, there was under Canada 150 a trail and pedestrian bridge. So I sit on the Healthy Community Network, and I'm just wondering what trail that you had applied for the grant for and where the pedestrian bridge was planned for.
Okay, I gotta test my memory. These 4 applications were actually part of, before I came last year, the treasurer, Monica, had applied with concurrence from council for actually 5 projects, and 1 got approved last year. So we reapplied for those 4.
Okay.
I just can't recall which trail or pedestrian bridge that was, the location of that. We haven't heard of any of those yet, so.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Moved by Deputy Mayor Byafocci, seconded by Councillor Bray, sorry, that the Community Service Section of Coordinated Committee received the grant funding application update report for information.
Members of the committee, having heard the question, I'll call for the vote. Councilor Belanger?
In favor?
Deputy Mayor Byfolchi?
In favor?
Councilor Bray?
In favor?
Councilor Ego?
In favor.
Councilor Smith?
In favor.
Mayor Smith?
In favor?
Motion carries.
And now I believe we have the age-friendly report. Councillor Bray, would you like to talk to this?
Yeah, I apologize for the last minute pulling. It was just based on something the OPP detachment commander said about the elderly being a victim of fraud. I wondered if part of the education component of the training could be part of the age-friendly study, because I just think it's probably a really good fit for you two. I know the library does work with training seniors, but anyways, I just thought it was worth mentioning because it tied directly into today's report.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Jackie and I kind of gave each other a little nod and a eyebrow raise about that. That was really interesting, and I think that as part of developing a community hub and a website and like a one-stop shop for seniors in our community, that would certainly be a really important thing to address, is how to avoid falling victim to these type of scams. And as well, a lot of the goals actually that we're looking at approaching in the initial steps of implementing this plan are really to reach out to seniors that are isolated too. So that's a big push, and actually the upcoming Ontario Trillium Foundation grant that we're going to apply for in March for the next year. That's one of the real targets of that grant as well. So that would be a grant for $75,000, and we're going to write it sort of using some of the goals about reaching out to our isolated seniors and having more information that's readily available for seniors in the community as part of that work program. So I think it fits quite nicely, and it was good to hear that this morning. And it's unfortunate that that's happening in our community, but it's great that we can approach it from a prevention standpoint as well as an information standpoint. So.
Thank you.
If I could just add to that, I know last year that the community policing put out a book to seniors. I think you're aware of it, Jack. And I think if you maybe were to think about working with them on it, you could probably put the two together and maybe put out a good information package on that, because I know that they were promoting that quite a bit.
Thank you. Yeah, we carried a number of those books in the library, and actually I did write it down to see if we could get some more of that information. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I mentioned it to them last week that I thought that this is one thing that should be, addressed in there, and I'm going to tell a personal experience, because when we were on this subject today, it reminded me of it. But about a month ago, I was in the bank, and there was a gentleman next to me. He was purchasing a $2,000 Western Union money order, and I heard him say to the teller, I've got to send this to my grandson in so-and-so place. And I reached over to him and I said, did you receive that on the internet, sir? And he said, yes, I did. I said, well, I think you better go talk to the police department before you send that $2,000. And the teller says, I was just going to say that to him, because that just goes to show you, I know myself personally, I have had 4 of them. And what it has is that somebody hacks into your computer, and what they do is they say that I'm your grandson, I'm stranded in so-and-so place, I need $2,000 immediately, or $2,500 immediately, could you please send it to me and I'll give it to you when I get home. They've taken all the information out of your computer and they send it out to everybody that's in your computer. And this is the big fraud that's going on right now. So I just want to make aware that what he said was actually really true. Thank you. Thank you very much. Any more questions? Thank you. I'll read the motion. Moved by Councillor Bray, seconded by Deputy Mayor Viafoce, that the Community Service Section of Coordinated Committee receive the update implementation report on the age-friendly community plan for information.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Having heard the question, I'll call for the vote. Councillor Boulanger?
In favor.
Deputy Mayor Viafoce?
In favor?
Councillor Bray?
In favor.
Councillor Smith?
In favor.
Mayor Smith?
In favor?
Councillor Eagle?
In favor.
Thank you, committee. Motion carries.
More. Thank you very much. I'll now call this meeting adjourned
For 10 minutes.
for 10 minutes. Thank you. I'd just like to say that
We'll call this section of Coordinated Committee Public Works back to order. I'll ask if there's any disclosure of pecuniary interest. I have one for myself. Checks 20431, 20308, and 20431 as they pertain to a family member, but I will be voting on all other matters. If at some point throughout the meeting you find that you have a conflict, please declare it at that time. Unfinished business, we have none. Other agency reports, we have none. Consent agenda, it's moved by Mayor Smith, seconded by Councillor Bray. Be it resolved that the Public Works section of Coordinated Committee hereby receives the December 8th, 2016 consent agenda items 4E through to 4G, and that all the recommendations contained therein be adopted. It's my understanding the contract administration for reconstruction of River Road West has been pulled, the accounts have been pulled, and departmental staff reports for engineering have been pulled. Is there anything else? Okay.
I think that's the whole agenda.
That
that's
is.
been pulled.
So, yeah.
To vote on the consent.
I don't know.
Can I just ask a question? Were all those requested to be pulled?
No.
They weren't, okay, so the motions were put in there just in case they were?
Yes. Okay.
So they're signed just in case, so nothing has been asked to be pulled?
No.
Okay, then we'll take those back.
Like I wasn't told.
Oh, okay. I just assumed they were all signed and sitting here. So
Yeah.
nobody wants to pull these things? I wondered what was going on. This is a
Well, you were in trouble, Mike.
Mike's at the end there.
No wonder Kevin didn't show up, he said you.
Always keep those.
I said they're all pulled, you go, Mike.
Okay.
So I read the motion. There we go.
You know what, that would have been the quickest run ever, but you know what? They
Yeah.
screwed up on you.
That's all right.
Okay, so having heard the question committee, I'll call for the vote. Councillor Belanger,
In favor?
Councillor Bray,
In favor?
Councillor Ego,
In favor.
Councillor Smith,
In favor.
Mayor Smith,
In favor.
Deputy Mayor Byfolchi.
In favor.
Motion carries, vote of 6-0.
Okay, and we will now recess till 1 o'clock for Development Committee.
How to help?
Thanks, Mike.